So, over the past few weeks, Vucic has successfully fueled conflict between Kosova and our Western supporters by sending his own hooligans into Kosova to disturb the peace. These actions have one goal: to divert attention away from the domestic challenges that threaten Vucic's hold on power. In the midst of protests against gun violence following several mass shootings in Serbia, which posed a significant threat to his government, Vucic knew exactly what he should use as a distraction: Kosova. So, when our government allowed newly elected Albanian mayors and a Bosnian mayor to go to their offices because mayors usually work where they are elected, democracy, organized Serbian terrorist groups supported by Belgrade resorted to violence against the police, journalists, and NATO peacekeepers. So far, around 30 peacekeeping troops were injured, as well as several civilians, countless journalists, Albanian police. So far, no consequence for Serbia, but massive outrage over Kosova for allowing democracy. And somehow the burden of de-escalating the violence is on us. One positive aspect, however, is that it seems like the Serbs in northern Kosovo are finally realizing that they're just being used as pawns every time Vucic is about to lose his power, because luckily they're turning against him now. But it doesn't end there. Serbian security forces have kidnapped 3 of our police officers within Kosovo and forcefully brought them into Serbia, where they have detained them. They still haven't been released, and we're all praying for their safe return. Still barely any reaction from the Western powers, just some tweets. Thank you for that. Meanwhile, journalists are again being attacked by violent Serbian mobs, while the people hired to protect all citizens, KFOR, are pushing journalists towards the mobs. Also, a tweet was the response to this. But how could this happen without causing massive sanctions against Serbia? And why is there such a double standard where all hell breaks loose because we don't want a Republika Srpska in northern Kosovo for the 50,000 Serbs who are already the most protected minority in the world and don't even pay for electricity, when the 61,000 Albanians in Presheva Valley, which is now in southern Serbia, don't even have basic human rights as described in this report by the Helsinki Committee for Human Rights in Serbia. For those who don't know, over 6,000 Albanians have been pacifized, which means they are not allowed to vote, go to the hospital, buy or sell property, go to school, and anything else that a human being needs to live a decent life is hopefully being investigated now after 78-year-old Sechir Simone committed suicide because the Serbian police illegally deprived him of his Serbian residency and thus his right to his pension, which he had acquired by living in Serbia his whole life. The way that pacifization works is that the police can just knock on your door, and if nobody opens, you lose your residency in Serbia. This happened to him while he was in the hospital for treatment in Pristina, because there's no hospital in southern Serbia, and thus he was not at his address when they knocked. He lost everything, and his whole family lost everything. These are real people who are the victims of these policies. Serbia does this to alter the demographic, and this is known as an ethnic cleanse through administrative means, because there can't be an association for Albanians if there are no Albanians. Furthermore, the organized kidnapping of Albanian police officers conveniently happened after our arrest of 3 Serbs who attacked NATO peacekeepers because they don't want Albanian mayors, but also don't want to vote for Serbian mayors. That seems like a very good reason to attack people. One of these terrorists was also recorded last year when he attacked and assaulted several Albanian boys. The timing is also crazy because this happened while our president Vjosa Osmani was addressing the European Parliament, where she announced that Pristina is almost ready to propose measures to de-escalate the situation in the north, as the West has asked us to do. Meanwhile, Serbia's president Vucic was celebrating Russia Day at the Russian embassy in Belgrade, emphasizing his country's strong ties with Moscow, despite its aggression against Ukraine, and showing once again that he is against the EU and the US. He does this because it seems clear that the Western powers want an ally in Russia's little brother, Serbia. They are willing, as they have been for the last 24 years or so, to overlook any inhumane acts from Serbia solely for that reason. And it will be interesting to see how far they'll actually go this time to build a very highly unlikely alliance. But one can only hope that maybe one day the Western powers will learn what everyone else in the Balkans already know. Serbia will not be happy until the Balkans look like this.